And what you just seen there, once again, this particular church in Plato, Texas or so, have their circus event to celebrate Christmas within the church. And if Jesus was here, oh, I wonder how he would respond. And this is the kind of foolishness that continues to go on. Just like I showed many years ago, this particular video, many of you may have seen it, where a youth pastor or so decided to ride a motorcycle through the church. Let's take a look.
Cumming, Georgia. A church is probably the last place you'd expect to find a dangerous driver. And a man of the cloth is the last person you'd expect to be hell on wheels.
I had a great friend of mine who's also does student ministry work, and I've seen him ride motorcycles in churches and school assemblies, so that motivated me to do it.
But David's in for more than just a Sunday drive. He tries to pop a wheelie, but the bike careens out of control, barely missing two volunteers and slamming David into the wall.
My immediate reaction when I crashed the motorcycle was, oh, crap.
As the preacher wrestles with the runaway bike, his knee buckles, tearing a major ligament. He can barely support his own body weight.
I faked it, trying to be cool, but I was actually in a lot of pain.
Onlookers help get the bike upright, and David's able to wheel it out of the church. But he's not off the hook yet.
My wife drove me to the hospital, and on the way to the hospital, she said, "What were you thinking?"
Like any good minister, David just wanted to leave a lasting impression on his congregation. But if he plans on spending his everlasting life in the fast lane, he might want to pray for better brakes.
Pure buffoonery, craziness, isn't it? Well, we got some new craziness, because I come across this video that shows these folks walking some camels through the church, and this woman gets kicked by the back legs of the camel as they're walking through the aisles of the church. Now, I'm going to play this clip. There's not going to be any sound to it, because I don't want to play a sound, because I'm not sure if that music is an actual artist or something that's being played, and I don't want to get a copyright strike. So it's going to be silent, but you're going to see. And watch at the end, the guy, I can't think of what color shirt he had on at this moment, red, orange, or something. He's trying to get out of the way after he realizes what's going on with these camels. So take a look. Crazy, isn't it? That's crazy, isn't it? That you have camels sitting in there being walked down the aisles of the church. And, you know, I did some research, just like it was telling you about how camels can be dangerous there when the heading's there within the video, but camels are dangerous, can be very dangerous. And this is the whole point, that when you, for the pastor of this particular church, to think of and the one with the motorcycle and the one that has a circus going on with all of these pastors. What kind of pastors are these? What are you thinking about when for you to go to this extreme, to think that you need to go this extreme to try to bring about the gospel message or try to get a point across? And you're not thinking about the safety of your congregants. You know, as you see here where it's talking about these camels, they kick, they bite. It depends on if they're nervous, of course they're going to be with a crowd of people like that, and everyone, camel was probably nervous in that particular setting. They crush people if they decide to sit down. I mean, they can be very dangerous. And just like this pastor that runs a motorcycle through the church that decides to do a wheelie, I get so mad. I don't know if any of you have experienced it, but I get mad over the years when you're without and there's people on the streets that decide to pop a wheelie. And I've been on the highway where guys are riding down with going, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour wheelies. And I'm just like, if they lose control of that and that bike comes flying, it's going to kill somebody, not only them, and kill several people. No regard for life. They don't have any regard for the safety of their congregants or the visitors because they figure that they have to do something extreme, that the gospel's not enough. Yes, it's okay to have some form of plays and certain things, but this is overboard. This is overboard. When you start talking about bringing in animals like this, and I mean, people's been harmed and lost their lives at petting zoos from camels and certain things, and let alone bringing motorcycles, and you got people suspended flying around up there, and if God forbid, if something like that was this loses way and comes crashing down on folks, or just the people that are participating, happens right within the church. This outside appearance that evangelicals and many Christians want to portray to others is they have gotten themselves in bed with the world so much, that they just want to duplicate the world in every form and fashion and think that this is the best way to draw people to Christ. And then you got these types of pastors and churches that they may not be bringing in animals. They may not be flying up above off of strings and doing wild things like that, or motorcycles. But they're sitting up there running around and doing all kinds of things, where they're just running around the aisles and all this hoopla. And then they have the nerve to tell you, if you ain't up out of your seat and running around and jumping and doing backflips, that you don't love the Lord. They will shame you and say that you do not love the Lord because you're silent and you're not dancing like David danced and you're not running up and down the aisles. And shame on any pastor or any type of congregant that goes to places like that try to shame somebody. Because just because somebody don't have this outgoing personality like you may have or so, and you may not be jumping and doing all of the backflips and all of that, but maybe you're just a outgoing, loud type person, and that's your personality. But that doesn't mean that person sitting next to you that don't have that they're more so maybe an introvert, maybe they're going through something, maybe they just want some time to themselves. Don't mean that they don't love the Lord. I mean, this is silliness. I've seen this over the years where people try to tell people that act like that they're not interested in the Lord because they're just sitting and not saying anything. That don't mean nothing. Your outward appearance is you can act real holy on the outside all you want, but we know what's inside. And we know how the Pharisees conducted themselves because they looked real good on the outside. They looked real and conducted themselves real religiously. But on the inside, they were like dead men's bones. And that's what a lot of these people that are within these circles that you see now anymore, these churches, they're dead. They're spiritually dead. And they're trying to utilize things of the world to bring it to life. And there is no life in the worldly things of this world. Jesus is the one that laid down his life so that we could have a life and live it more abundantly. And his blood was he sacrificed it all for all of us. And we don't have to go through gimmicks and all types of things to try to draw others to him. Because he said, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto myself. That's all we have to do. Be an example, Be the light that he told us to be. Let our light shine. Be to show Christ-like characteristics. That's the problem. Because a lot of these types of people within these areas, they're not showing Christ-like characteristics. People don't want nothing to do with the church or anybody that talks about being a Christian. You know, there's something I remember, you guys. I made a message there a year or so ago now talking about Texas. And something's going on with Texas. I mean, it's really bad. I mean, you have a lot of Christian nationalists that are there in Texas. You have a lot of false teachers that are within Texas going way back, and even to where we talked about, and I think in the video I made, David Koresh. And then you have a lot of these false pastors and prophets and people on YouTube. They're from Texas. They're from Texas. So we need to keep a special eye on those within Texas that are something's going on. We need to pray. We need to pray for the churches that are falling off, those that have been churches that are being have fallen off to the wayside here, that are spiritually dead, those that are walking within the doors of these types of churches that are actually spiritually dead and become blinded and thinking that it's okay to just succumb to some of these things that have come their way from these pastors that are not walking with the Lord like they're supposed to. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's a whole lot of pastors out here. There's a whole lot of ministries out here where they have not been called. The Lord has not called them. They are self-appointed. And there's a difference when you're self-appointed and when you're called. Because when you are called by him, he's going to anoint you and give you what you need out to carry out what he's called for you to do. And these people that's out here masquerading as a messenger of the Lord, he hasn't called them. And this is why they'll come up with all types of false teachings and different tactics that they will use to carry out a false mission and have you think that you're on the right path. But the end result is death. And on this channel, we'll continue to call it out. We'll continue to talk about the issues the church run away from, tackle Satan and his tactics, punching right in between the chops. Evangelism for God is your channel. My name is Maurice Braxton. Until the next video, my friends, take care. God bless.